Do you like war? Do you like planets? Dare I may even say, do you like apes? Well, I have a movie for you. War of the Planet of the Apes. Let's talk about it. I have been down the series of the, I guess, rebooted franchise of Planet of the Apes, and I finally watched War of the Planet of the Apes, and my golly, Miss Molly, did they I feel like I say that a lot, but they kind of cooked with this one. Matt Reeves, I'm kind of upset he's not gonna be filming or directing the new one. You know, the guy who did the Batman. So it's kind of sad, but you know, we'll see how this new guy does. You can definitely tell that they were like trying to make a trilogy, and I don't even know if a fourth one was even supposed to happen, but it did, and we'll see how it goes. I had my tickets, so actually about probably when this video drops, I would have already watched it, or I'm in the process of in the theater, or that day of. You know, I haven't decided on the full schedule yet. As I'm recording this, my second video of Dawn of the Apes hasn't even came out yet, but they all should be out though. When I finally do post it, whatever, you know. Anyways, so let's get into this movie. As usual, spoilers. The movie came out already years ago. I don't really care much for spoilers at this point, but when I talk about Kingdom, I will heavily imply that spoiler warning. So, first off, let's just say, I out of out of these the three original trilogies, am I deciding which one I love the most? This one, look, I don't know how financially these movies did. I mean, apparently well enough to have four installments. Only thing I really know about this one is I read an article recently that I think Woody Harrelson didn't enjoy his performance in this movie. I mean, I thought he did fairly well. I hated his character, but I think that was the point of the movie. Is you're supposed to kind of hate him. But then there's also a side of his character that you kind of like. Maybe you honestly you sympathize with, but like during times of like hardship, he was like, I have to make hard choices, and I'm gonna make it this way because I don't know if there's any other way. And whether he made the right choice or not, you'll never know because how the movie ends. But I mean, great. I mean, it's just overall good movie. I enjoyed it. Good music. We got the guy from Up who did the music. But I want to get into it. So I love the beginning opening sequence. It's like it's like apes rise, apes then had the dawn, and now apes are having the war. And I wouldn't necessarily say there was a war in this movie. So basically, the plot line is and it's crazy. I went back and rewatched my Rise video, and I was kind of right. There are moments where Caesar is being tested. He is being tested of like, okay, I let humans, kind of push me around long enough, and I'm kind of paying for it. And this is one thing I love about Caesar as a character is he is complex. He's not like, I guess one dimensional. He has flaws, and he sees that there's this darkness overcoming him because like at the end of the day, Caesar just wants peace. He never wanted this war. He never wanted to leave the woods. He just kind of wanted him and his apes to be left alone. That's all he wanted. He wanted to raise his family, raise his community, and then Koba kind of came and like ruined that. Which reminds me, there are parts of the movie where like we can see that I guess Caesar is kind of going to the dark side and he's haunted by the ghost of Koba. And one of the shocking things about this movie is you're watching it, you see that the humans are trying to like take out this like ape base, and you actually see that they're working with apes, and and it's a shocking moment. You're like, what, apes are helping the humans? And then you soon find out that they were followers of Koba who are pretty much sticking by the humans because they're afraid of what they'll actually do to them once they like capture all the apes. So there's like a specific ape throughout the movie, a gorilla, who he's like I guess referred to as the red donkey, because all the humans call the apes that they're being helped with them donkeys. It's just like an insult. Maybe that's a reference to Donkey Kong. I don't know, but so there's a whole arc with him, and you hate his character, but he does get like a redemption, and that's what I love about this franchise is there are characters you absolutely will hate, and then you slowly do see them get a redemption, or they get killed in a justified way, and it's very satisfying moments, and it's what I love about what I've seen from this franchise so far. And so yeah, that was actually really cool. But but all I gotta say is I feel like apes have died a lot in this movie. Like one of the apes that was helping Caesar died. Spoiler there, but and I'm like, why do they keep killing apes? In the first movie, apes died. And an ape that was a buck, the ape died, and then I'm like, why do apes? Wait, why do apes keep dying? Like that's just I have like I said, in was it 2016? I lived through that, and I don't want to live through it anymore. They should have known. Harambe died during when these movies came out. It's just a shame. Yeah, and then there was the ape from Rampage was in it. He betrayed Caesar. Dang, like a lot of betrayals, and Caesar goes on his expedition to like, okay, look, they hurt my family. They killed my son and my wife. They like a Punisher. They killed my wife and my baby. And he's like, I'm gonna go out and find them. And then was it a Rocket, which I believe is the ape from the first movie that bullied him. I'm not sure. I don't want. I can look. I'll look it up during this. Maurice and one of the other apes came and helped, and they helped him out, and then they meet a little girl, and then there's another plot. This little girl is like somewhat sick, and they're like, "Why is she sick?" And as they're going through the plot line, you find out more humans are sick. Why are these humans sick? You know, they can't like speak or something like that. And so Caesar finally finds the base of where the humans are at. Turns out he's like imprisoned all of his colony. And then they find another ape there. And this is an interesting plot line, which I think will come back later in the new movie. And this is one thing that the franchise added that I never thought I'd think they needed to add. They had a comic relief character voiced by yours truly, Steve Zah or whatever. I think the character personally was a little unnecessary. I don't think the movie needed a comic relief character, but I will admit there are parts of his. I like the actor Steve, but there are parts of his lines that I actually did. They were a little funny, okay, and I didn't necessarily hate his character. It'd be interesting to see if he actually does pop up more in the next movie. I don't know, but it was kind of funny. Don't get me wrong. So they find him, and it turns out when the humans were getting sick, he was an ape he was a chimpanzee. He looked like a chimpanzee, who was in a zoo that got smarter. So it seems like the disease made humans sick, but it made the apes smarter. That's I think what they're going with that. So and they do ask the questions. I wonder how many more apes are out there who are like us and became smart because of that. So, or I don't know if it's like an evolution thing that they're just getting smart because they're getting smart. Anyways, when they find the base, they find the base that has all Caesar's like his colony or whatever. I mean they capture Caesar and they pretty much they put all the apes through slavery basically. And then basically he becomes like ape Moses, ape Jesus, like he's a martyr, like and you can tell that they still are loyal to Caesar. Like he's been their leader. They'll do whatever they can to keep him alive, and then they put Caesar through the ringer. You know, Woody Harrelson then at one point they have like an intervention with him. And he sees that like, oh, Caesar's just not your average ape. You know, he's really intelligent and really has, you know, but you learn Woody Harrelson's character's motivation. Turns out there's a disease that's making humans primitive. It seems like the virus, the Sumerian virus, I think that's what they called it, has mutated and it's made people more feral. And so he had the option to have to shoot and kill anyone who had this disease, including his own son. So you kind of learn that his character has made hard choices. But there's other factors of humans who think they could control this virus, but he's like, I'm not taking any chances. Basically, because like he knows that once all the humans are gone, the apes are going to take over, and it's going to be a planet of the apes. I think they actually say that in the movie. So he's just trying to find his way of like saving humanity, and for him, that was the way. It's dark, but you know, but it's interesting because you see this little girl that Maurice finds that and he's like kind of protecting her, that she has this disease to some degree, but she's not feral. So maybe like it's one of those things that like, you know, like most diseases, some humans are maybe more how would you como se dice immune to it. So maybe that's the plot of it, and the only humans who are going to be left are the ones who are immune to it, but maybe they kind of devolve into a more primitive state where they can't really speak, and maybe they kind of go back. And so that's when you start maybe seeing the switch of like apes becoming intelligent, humans kind of becoming more primitive and animalistic, which we will talk about that later. Anyways, he learns that about the guy. And anyways, Caesar, his family, or what's left is his family is there, his youngest son. But then they're like Thin Lizzy, they're like tonight's gonna be a jailbreak. They find a secret tunnel that they're gonna bust them out. They have a little bust them out party, jailbreak. It's kind of a cool scene. Yeah, they jailbreak, and but the weirdest thing is like the apes never really go to war. It was more of humans against humans things, and they were using the apes to help build their reinforcements. They were building a wall. So once that is done, the apes are escaping, and they're escaping during like the two human factions are attacking each other. And it's a really crazy scene because what I triggered me most about the scene, and I don't mean this in a bad way, is that like during this scene, the base that's being attacked that had the apes, and then they're escaping. Um, they eventually notice that the apes are escaping off to the side. During this, they're being attacked. Like helicopters and like tanks or whatever are shooting at their base. And for some stupid reason, the humans like, oh, I'm being attacked by these big machines, but I must use my resources to shoot these apes. I'm like that, and honestly, in my opinion, is the most stupidest thing ever. And I don't mean that in like in the sense of like cinematic and like no, I think that's just a stupid thing that like if I was in war against people, I would not be shooting at like I guess my prisoners that are escaping. I would be shooting at the people who are shooting at me. So I think it was really stupid. But like I think that was the point of the shooting was that like these people are just so like gung ho and evil that they're willing to shoot people who are not even like are apes who are not even like doing anything necessarily wrong. They just think that's what they have to do. And also it was a plot development for the red donkey character because he sees that like, oh, they're shooting my fellow people when they're not even doing anything wrong. And that's another thing. Like this ape is like starting to realize like this is really wrong. Like, and there's a point where you see Caesar trying to escape and he's trying to blow up the entire front line and then but he gets shot or whatever and he's about to die, but then the ape has to make a choice and he does, and he chooses to have a redemption and he sacrificed himself to help Caesar. And it was a very that's what I love with the movie. It does a lot of great redemption arcs and just people like justified moments, and that's what I've really enjoyed with the franchise so far. So hope I get more of those later on. Who knows how's gonna be in the fourth one? So, anyways, the base gets destroyed. The new like giant army comes, and then but they notice the apes are there, and they're like, "Wait a minute, that's an ape. We should maybe shoot it." But then I didn't expect this coming. An avalanche happens, and pretty much wipes the rest of those humans out. Now, the world is big. I don't know how many more apes or humans are out there in this world, but as so far the that California area, um, I guess is there. I think it was California was the main area in the series. Yeah, it was because it was San Francisco. I see most of the humans have died off at this point. The only one that's left is that little girl who her name is Nova. Which reminds me, it was also nice. Maurice said his first words. Nova was his first word, and that was actually really nice. And there was a moment at the end where he has a nice little speech with Caesar. So, anyways, like I said, like Caesar, he is basically ape Moses. He leads his people to the promised land because that's one other part of the movie is he sent his son out to go find his son and I think it was Rocket to go find new land, and then they do. And that they're trying to get to it. So they make the Mecca to the new land. They find it. That's when Caesar takes his final breath, has a final conversation with Maurice, like his first friend he ever made. And Caesar's like, Master Uguay, my time has come. Thanos, like, I can finally rest on a glorious sunset. And that seems to be the end of Caesar's story. I haven't watched much trailers and stuff. I don't think Caesar's in the new one whatsoever. I think that that if that was the end of Caesar's saga, I think they did it really well. That was I hope I kind of as much as I love Caesar, he was a great character. Andy Serkis did a great job with his character. I guess both mocam and speaking or whatever. They shouldn't bring Caesar back. Like that was a good natural ending to his arc. Great ending. So that leaves us with what's going to happen in the new movies. So it seems to be Caesar's youngest son is going to be the main focus point of these new movies. There's also humans in this movie. I have theories like I said, I don't know yet. I haven't watched much of the trailers. I remember in the theater when I went to see Godzilla X Kong on the first opening night, they did show like a IMAX prequel. I mean, like sneak peek of the movie, and that was kind of cool. But like I said, at the time I didn't know much. I know I didn't see any of the movies at the time, so it seems to be this girl in the trailer I'm seeing that could be Nova. I'm hoping it is Nova because that I think it'd be weird if it's just some other random girl. Because they picked her up for a reason, right? So, and also there are apes in this movie that I haven't seen. My theory is that maybe these I'm in the theory range. I'm no longer talking about the movie, but with the new one, it's my theory is that it's the apes, like as the goofy ape said. There were other apes who got smarter. I'm assuming maybe there was already a colony of apes nearby who made their plot of land, and they ruled this domain. And so maybe their apes just kind of forge into one, and they already have a ruler. So maybe that's where those apes came from. That's my theory on that so far. Nova's the girl on the thing, and there's already a kingdom of apes there. So, and then Caesar, maybe Caesar's son is maybe trying to like, you know, maybe carve a new path because he believed truly in what his father's words were. So, and then after that, who knows what kind of movies made? As they said this in their first movie, that space shuttle got lost. Like I said, Marky Mark can loop back around and come back on Earth in a few years later. Who knows what's gonna happen if they make another movie? But I'm really excited for this next movie. Really excited. It's been a great franchise to watch, and I'm kind of upset. I've been sleeping on it for so long. But the best thing about waiting on watching a franchise is you can watch it pretty much all at once. So by the time this comes out, I would be watching it. You know, I'll be in in the theater probably when this one drops. So, and hopefully I can make a video of it soon. So, if you haven't watched any of the video movies yet, you don't have to. But I thoroughly one of the better franchises I've watched in recent years. So, apes rise up, apes go to war, apes don soap. Yeah, anyways, that's really it. I don't got much to say. Juice out.